Oh, welcome in the latest episode of that SEC podcast. I'm your host, Michael Bratton. I go by SEC Mike on Twitter. And I'm joined, as always, by my cousin Shane, who goes by Big Orange Vols on Twitter. What are you up to, you big Tennessee homer?
My father-in-law's in the next room, and he's not big on beer drinking, so... Hey, buddy, what's going on?
Oh, man, I'm doing good. Good to see you. You've got a Coors Light. That's the correct beer to have in your hand. So,
yes, sir.
Man, I'm just getting fired up. And, of course, we got SEC East Bowl takes. Shane, I had a lot of responses today. Where in the heck are these East takes? We're going to get to them. We're going to get to them in a second. But before we get to that, Shane, I got to ask, because I was stunned. I mean, these walks, they're getting later and later and later, just as I predicted. And I was thinking, oh, God, he's about to fall off a wagon. We are not going to be he not even lasted a damn week this time. And boom, about the time I roll out of bed, I got a Cousin Shane walking video. You're hitting the pavement early. How's it going on your end?
Well, going good. I feel good. I'll tell you the one thing that's nice about getting it over with is you don't have it, like, looming over you. And I know... Some people, most people probably are listening to this like, who the hell worries about walking? You know what I'm saying? Like, who? Me. I'm a big guy, and it is a grueling it is exercise. And, I feel a million times better after I do it, but putting it off, you're right. That was a pattern of last year. But my wife, believe it or not, she was up and at it early this morning. She said, we going to get this thing in? Because she knew we had a wild evening planned. So I was like, absolutely. And then I texted you and I said, Mike, we're podding early. We got stuff to do. He couldn't believe it. I already had the Big Orange walks in his way.
Yeah, I love to see it, Shane. So I think we're getting better at putting that out. Yeah. And, before we get to these East takes, Shane, I want to give a shout out to our guy, Josh Bray, who he has a bold take of his own. It's probably my favorite. His bold take is Cousin Shane hits 100 days of that Big Orange walks.
That is a bold take, sir. A lot of people thinking, I think you said yourself, what were you giving me, 30 days? Was that what you're...
The over-under, I think it was 35.
35. I mean, that's fair. I mean, that's a month, and honestly, they say that, and I don't know if that's true, but they say, like, after so long, it becomes part of your routine or whatever. And,
right.
I don't know. I don't know if that's even true or not, because last year I struggled, and it never felt easy. This year it feels different. And one thing that I love most about the walks itself is filtering through all the college football material. It's not like I woke up and said, hey, 95, I'm going to talk about Kentucky and Chattanooga. It's like I had to find that, but I went through a lot of awesome content, and that's one thing I love about YouTube. Shout out to the YouTube channel if you're not subscribed yet, but it is rabbit holes, and sometimes you'll get into them, you'll forget a college player. I think that's one thing I'd like to talk about you at some point, Mike, maybe here in the off season, is some of those college folks that we forgot about, that were a big part of our, 98 run or a 2000 run or something like that, a kid that got lost in the shuffle. So maybe we can revisit, because, man, there are some great clips out there, and it's just fun talking college football. We're counting down to kickoff, man.
Yeah, and I could tell the audience 100% true story here, but Shane is so fired up. I mean, we're thinking about media days. He's thinking, well, how are we going to get these walks in? And I told him, I'm from Nashville, so I know the area a lot better. Why don't we just walk Broadway, hit up the pedestrian bridge to Nissan Stadium? And he's like, man, maybe we can get some fans to come out, walk with us. So, man, we are trying to make these more engaging and more fun. So who knows, Shane? We might be hitting up some of our regulars on this pedestrian bridge come SEC Media Days. How neat would that be?
I think it's funny because nobody comes here for nutritional insight. Nobody comes here. Nobody jumps on that SEC podcast to see how Shane is exercising these days. So I think it's pretty cool because, yes, I will be out there. And if you it's funny because as I'm doing it, I hear a lot of people online that I find out they started walking, and I think that's pretty cool. It doesn't have to be walking. It could be, you could commit to anything. Mine's 100 Big Orange Days of walking, Yours may be, doing something with your kids or, doing, just whatever. Just commit to it till kickoff. I think that's the coolest thing. So if you got your own little countdown or something you've been putting off, man, just commit to it. We got 94 more days to go, and then we're going to have kickoff, and I think you'll be a better person for it. So, yeah, maybe. Like I told you, college football's saving my life because I'm already, like I said, I'm down. This morning I was down 14 pounds. So that's just one week of Big Orange walks.
Well, Shane, I mean, that's just great to hear, buddy. But the folks are here for some SEC East bold takes. And, man, we got some great ones from the fans. Is it all right if we read the fan ones
absolutely.
Before we get to yours this time?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
We were also talking off the air, Shane. I mean, these were, in my opinion, and yours as well, these were a little bit more difficult to come up with because it feels like the East, we know more about these teams. Yes. I mean, you say Georgia will win the national championship 5 years ago. That's a bold take. That's the expectation now.
Right.
Joe Milton have a big year. I mean, all of Vol Nation, essentially. That's not a bold take. So on and on and on the list. These were a little bit more difficult to come up with. But, Shane, I think you're going to like some of these user submissions. How about Johnny Powers on the YouTube channel, Shane? Again, shout out to YouTube. Subscribe if you haven't already. South Carolina goes undefeated.
Ooh.
That's not the end of it. Spencer Rattler wins the Heisman. Oh,
dang.
The Gamecocks win the national title. Oh, baby, that's bold right there. You know what?
We sure are saying his dad, I know he had a couple of burners floating around there. Was it him or was it they'd say it was Spencer? I don't know, but yeah, that is a Gamecock homer if I've ever heard one, and I guarantee you, if that happened, man, Columbia would implode. I mean, I would probably delete Twitter for a little bit, or at least go on a 12-month hiatus, because I don't know if I could handle all that love.
All right, how about Michael Ward, Shane Big Vol here? Tennessee beats Georgia to go undefeated. He doesn't say, win the SEC, win the national championship, but I know you like to hear that.
I do like to hear that, Mike. I mean, because I've told you several times that's the next hurdle. We got Alabama finally, got that monkey off our back. Now it's time to get Georgia. So I don't think this is a crazy hot take here. I mean, we felt like we had an opportunity last year. Obviously that didn't come to fruition, but now you're coming to Knoxville and, see what a loud stadium looks like, and you never know, brother, what's going to happen. Yeah, I'm just kidding, Georgia fans. Don't call me. I'm just messing. I will say this, brother. That's what made this game more exciting to me last year was all the shit talking leading up to it. Vol fans thought they had a shot. Georgia couldn't believe we were, but it made that game more impactful than years past, in my opinion. And say what you want. Did Georgia, beat the brakes off the Vols? Maybe a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But I will say this, brother. The gap is closing, and that's what we love about the SEC is these competitive matchups, going in knowing you're not going to get blown out by 40 points anymore. That the stars align, Tennessee Vols can beat the two-time national champs, man. That'd be awesome.
Yep. How about this Twitter user, Shane? Obviously a Vol. His name on Twitter, Peyton Witten. That's not his real name, obviously, but he's just a big fan. He thinks Tennessee will make the college football playoff without beating Georgia. So, that I could certainly see that if Georgia goes undefeated and is number one, and Tennessee goes 11-1, what have you. I mean,
basically you could repeat that, last year. Just don't drop it with Columbia, or South Carolina. That was the recipe. I mean, that's where we're at though with the Tennessee Vols. They can afford to lose one. they could afford to skip the SEC championship. I don't think that's a bad idea. Dropping to Georgia. If you told me you're going to beat Alabama, lose to Georgia, you saw that tweet the other day. That guy asked, worst case scenario. I don't care which team it is, as long as you just lose one game. I think with the resume, you're going to get into the college football playoffs. So, yeah, I am definitely fine with this.
How about this one from Chuck W. Shane? I think every Gamecock fan would sign up for this. South Carolina loses to Georgia, but then runs the table 11-1. Man, the Gamecocks, man, they're pumped up about this season.
Well, speaking of Gamecock season, I'm curious. What was? Can you do a quick rundown of the schedule? Who's the other? Who's the West opponents they got? I mean, Texas A&M, and who's the other one?
Mississippi State.
Oh, I thought
Arkansas was last year. Here's the schedule for the Gamecocks, Shane. North Carolina in the opener in Charlotte. Could be a tricky game. Furman at home, at Georgia, Mississippi State at home, at Tennessee, Florida at home, at Missouri, at A&M, Jacksonville State, Vanderbilt at home, Kentucky at home, and Clemson at home. So, would not be a layup to do that, but you could talk me into it if they get hot.
I'm telling you, man. You talk to media about South Carolina, I feel like the expectations aren't as high as the fan base. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I really do feel like they feel as if they have arrived, and maybe they have, Mike. I mean, if they keep playing like they did at the tail end of last season, telling me that they're going to run the board is not – I mean, past Georgia, I believe it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that's a crazy take at all. So, but, man, I mean, you talk about a violent online community. South Carolina Gamecocks are tired of sucking. You know what I'm saying? They're ready. They're ready to win championships. Yeah. So, yeah, come on, baby.
And if they go 11-1, if their loss is only to Georgia, hell, we probably got to put them in the playoff.
Oh, yeah. No, anybody.
Losing at Georgia. You know what I mean?
True. I don't care if you're East-West, Mike. I mean, if you just have one loss, how do you keep them out? You know what I'm saying? I don't see a scenario you keep a one-loss team out of the college football playoffs. Hell, it could be Vanderbilt, Mike. Vanderbilt could lose one game, long as it's not like some stupid game at the end. I don't know what their schedule is, but I truly think if Vanderbilt runs the board, there's no reason they can't be in the college football playoff.
All right, how about combining them here, Shane? Mizzou, two Mizzou men here. Rambo Mizzou, one of the most active followers on social media. He comments on every Mizzou post I've ever made in my life, I think. He says Mizzou's going to beat LSU. Remember, that game is at home, week 6 of the season. That would set up a hell of a start for Drinking Company. And then I just love this guy's name, Shane. He goes by Michael, but his handle, at pre-dadbod. So I like that. Same deal. LSU falls to 0-2 all-time at Faurot Field, and Mizzou's going 6-0 to start the season. I'm sensing a theme here, Shane. Everybody's high on their team. I love it.
Mike, it's almost like he knows who my bold take's going to be.
And how about Mr. Blue, Shane? Kentucky, man. He thinks Kentucky is going to lead the SEC East in points per game, which that'd be one hell of a turnaround after, let's call it what it is. Offense held them back. Injuries, offensive line, quarterback, a lot of those didn't live up to the hype last season. If Kentucky leads the East in points per game, they're going to have one hell of a season.
Absolutely, man. And I think that's what we're going to see. I think we're going to get a little bit more of an explosive offense now that they've they went out there and shopped. I mean, Mark went out there and got some goodies, and he cannot wait to open it up. And I think that's important, and that's really important for the fan base because they don't want to go back to the ground and pound. They want to have some fun on Saturdays. So, yeah, a lot of points coming out of Lexington for sure.
All right, last one from the fans, Shane, before we get to ours. Philip, big Georgia man. He's got a double whammy here, Shane. Carson Beck wins the Heisman Trophy. We just had Brad Powers on the other day, said That was his best value on the board, so not totally unrealistic. And how about this? You'll love this one, Shane. Billy Napier loses to Tennessee, LSU, and Georgia by a combined score of over 100 points. Clearly, he is not a Gator fan. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah, no, that's buddy. Are you putting him on a hot seat then, Mike? I mean,
if he gets his ass kicked like that, yeah, of course, yeah.
No, I don't think that will happen, but that's, I mean, hell, it's why we call them bold takes, because every now and then they do.
All right, brother. So what do you got? You SEC East bold take, maybe takes. I don't know how many you got. What you got for
I was
us?
thinking probably you avoided this team just because you're talking to the Big Orange Homer, but I've got to have my first bold take coming from Knoxville, Tennessee, with Bazooka Joe breaking the SEC record for most passing yards in a season. All right, just to give you a reference point, our boy Joey Burrow, he's the one that has this record right now. 2019, 5,671. So I'm telling you right now, Mike.
What the hell, Shane? Is he going to throw for 500 yards a game?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the reason I'm thinking this is why I'm taking the bold take. I think there's going to be a couple shootouts. You know, you look at teams like Bama, you look at teams like Georgia and Texas A&M.
Yep.
You know, there's going to be some – hell, even look at South Carolina. They hung 40 – you know, I can't remember how many points. I turned that game off mentally. But, you know what I'm saying? I think obviously Tennessee defense will be better improved, but I still think we're going to find ourselves in a little bit of shootouts. And who better than Bazooka Joe to break the record?
Well, I'll tell you why you're wrong, Shane. And
again,
you
can't tell my bold take wrong. There's no such thing.
I'm not trying to be a hater, but given the fact that they got Nico behind them, I have to imagine they're going to get Nico as many reps as possible. So, yeah, Joe Milton could put up a ton of yards, but I feel like any time there's an opportunity to play the young quarterback, they're going to get him in the game. You know, I think it'd be a little bit different if they didn't have Nico and let's say they had no one of any caliber behind Joe. But you're right. That's why they called it a bold take. So I shouldn't throw water on your bold take here. I apologize.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't. I totally phased out when you started talking negative anyway, Mike. And to be honest with you, the timing of this pod may be partial for me making this part of my bold take. You know our boy down there at Stats of War, right? Sent me from Sicko's committee, okay, I'll add some trains. He's got Joe Milton. So before we even jumped on this pod, we got Joe Milton 3, jump on the train. You know, obviously the hype is going to pick up. And then as soon as I logged on to the Twitters, I saw Zach Reagan out here retweeting the Volunteer Club. Our boy is down there with Keaton. I mean, looking fly. I mean, looking like damn Cam Newton out here. And I mean, he looks the part. Joe Milton looks the part. You can't say that he doesn't. But there in the billboard this afternoon in New York has him. That's the kickoff his Heisman campaign. So you got to remember, I got all of this. I didn't have Milton, believe it or not. 2 days ago, I did not have a Tennessee bold take. But I've been bombarded with this big orange wave and this big orange love, so I got to roll with Bazooka Joe here.
He's drinking the Kool-Aid. All right, what's your other bold take?
All right, here's the other one. Mizzou, M-I-Z. I'm going to tell you right now, this is a team that a lot of folks are sleeping on. Regardless, now I'm going to come away with an extreme bold take here, but I do think that this is the team that people need to watch out for. They're going to sneak up and they're going to catch a lot of people off guard, and I cannot wait to do our optimistic show with them because it's going. I mean, if you're a Mizzou fan, you better get onto that one because you're going to love that pod. But Mike, my bold take is that Mizzou goes 10-2 this year.
Oh, baby.
10-2. They're going to lose 2 games. They got the games, obviously, you're going to have to circle is the LSU game, the Tennessee game, the Georgia game. They lose 2 of those, but they win one of those. So there's an upset in their future. And they got some tough teams, man. I know Kentucky fans are like, Shane, you effing crazy. South Carolina fans, they're like, last year was a fluke. We're going to get them this year. I'm telling you, brother, Mizzou's defense is legit. I think he takes that step forward here. I think they got plenty of weapons on that side of the ball. I think they're a little deeper. I think they got a little more competitive depth. So my bold take is that they become the second team in the East this year.
Wow. You know, Shane, I'm not saying I agree necessarily, but if you just look at their true road games, Shane, at Vanderbilt, at Kentucky, at Georgia, okay, that'll be tough, but at Arkansas, 3 of those 4, again, not guaranteeing they're going to win them, but
right.
It is not a stretch at all to say they'll win all those aside from at Georgia. So all you got to do is win your home games and win majority of your away games, and you're dead on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you rewatch the Tennessee Vol game, rewatch the South Carolina Mizzou game, rewatch the Georgia Mizzou game. This 1 second. There's them in-laws I was telling you about. I thought they were already here, so I could have been a little louder opening this guy. I hope he doesn't ever find me on YouTube. All right, I think we calmed down here. But I say all that to say this, Mike. There was some games that really got away from them last year, and I think we're singing a different tune at the start of this season. I think when they go to Kansas State. Now, they're going to Kansas State this year, right?
No, Kansas State comes to them.
Oh, even better. Even better, Mike. I think that's going to be the shot over the bow. That's going to be the game where that puts them like on alert that Mizzou may be something this year. Because you're right. You read the first 7 games there for Mizzou.
First 7 games for Mizzou, Shane. South Dakota at home.
Didn't even know it's a school.
Middle Tennessee at home. Which, again, they'll have 2 games to work out the quarterback situation. For Kansas State at home. And then week 4, Memphis, but it's in St. Louis, so that'll be a home crowd.
Yeah. At
Vanderbilt, LSU at home, and at Kentucky. That's your first 7.
Dude, if they could drop LSU, man, that place the LSU is going to be the tough one. I told you the 2 losses are going to come between LSU, Tennessee, and Georgia. But, man, I'm not saying 11-1's a possibility on a bold take, but if they drop LSU and gain that much momentum through this whole thing, yeah, it would not. Okay, you want to take? Okay, I'm going to reset my bold take here, Mike. 11-1, they lose 1 game, either Georgia or Tennessee.
Oh, man.
Come
now
on,
that is
dude.
bold right there.
That may be the core's talking. Maybe the core's talking.
I'm right there with you with a different team, Shane. I'm jumping on the bandwagon for the Big Blue Nation, Shane. Last season was a complete dud, disappointment. Man, one of the worst seasons under Mark Stoops since he got that thing rolling. Obviously, the first couple of years he was building it up, but I think they have upgraded massively at quarterback with Devin Leary. I love what I see from him. Liam Cohen back in the fold, arguably the best play caller in the SEC East, given what he's done in his brief stint there. Hell, he made Will Levis an NFL draft pick. Ray Davis on there, back from the transfer from Vanderbilt. They got 3 outstanding receivers. They've been adding seemingly an offensive lineman every week.
Yeah,
I got confidence they can shore that up, and they got a criminally underrated defense. They even added a kicker the other day, Shane, because that was one of their weaknesses. So now they got options at kicker as well. I think Kentucky, Shane, is going to win 10 games for the 3rd time in 6 seasons. Now, I'm not sitting here guaranteeing that it's going to be 10 in the regular season. Could be a 9-3 season. Win that bowl game, get to 10. That's how they've done it before. The only thing that's holding me back is obviously they got to play Georgia, and it's in Athens, and they got to play Alabama.
Yeah.
So that's difficult. But again, I've said it before. I'll say it again. That Alabama game is in Lexington. It's late in the season. Perfect trap game. They may beat Alabama. Shane, again, I'm not going to be as bold to predict that, but catching Alabama. It's difficult to win 10 games when you got Alabama and Georgia on your schedule, but I think Kentucky can do it. I think Mark Stoops and company are out on a mission to prove that, I think they kind of got a little full of themselves, Shane. I mean, when do we see Mark Stoops out here calling out coaches at media days? I mean, how stupid can you be? That's not, remember when he got there, it was hard hat Kentucky. It was, we're going to work, we're not going to talk, toughness, discipline, and they got weak in the line of scrimmage. They're running their mouths when they have no business doing it. I think they've gotten away from all that, and they're back to the Kentucky identity we know and love.
Absolutely. Well, they don't call you UK Mike for nothing. Hey, I know you're going to put this out on the Twitters tomorrow. I've changed my mind there. I'm going back 10-2 Mizzou, so I'm close. I'm close. One of those games is going to come down the wire, but right now I may need a few more of these cores to push them into the 11-1 realm, even if it's a bold take.
Okay. Well, hey, I got one more for you, Shane, and again, I was hoping you didn't say this. I'm glad you didn't, but sticking with the same team, I wish I would have picked someone different now, just because we are known as a Tennessee homers over here. But I'm going Tennessee, Shane. Not going Milton, Heisman. I'm not going to beat Georgia. Never again am I allowed to say anyone's going to beat Georgia, so I am not saying it. Hell, even, notice, Shane, when I said LSU's winning it all, I didn't even mention Georgia. So I don't know how it's going to happen, but maybe they escape Georgia. That's Georgia and LSU in the playoff, and somehow they evade them. I don't know how it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. But my bold pick for Tennessee, Shane, I think you're going to love this. They beat Papaw Nick Saban 2 years in a row in Tuscaloosa.
Come on,
I don't care where that game's played, Shane. I think Tennessee has got an offense that Nick Saban simply cannot stop, and he struggled with it obviously last year. I mean, they look damn clueless out there. Lane Kiffin, same offense, has given them problems. Hell, even at Arkansas, similar offense has given them problems. Tennessee's got better talent than both those teams. I don't think they have any fear of Alabama. They showed it last year. They really showed it 2 years ago, Shane, when they went down there. And I believe it was a one-score game late in the third quarter, and this was year one under Josh Heupel when he didn't have near the pieces that he's got now, and they had a guy named Bryce Young who's off to the NFL now. So I think Tennessee beats Alabama in Tuscaloosa. That's my bold take. I don't have any record predictions for you, but obviously if you're beating Alabama in Tuscaloosa, you're probably going to have a hell of a year.
Man, I'm going to have to keep buying these damn cigars in, ain't I? Oh, I love it, Mike. I love it. I love bold takes, man. I love hot takes. I think it's part of college football. This is what we do here in the off season. We stretch it, man. We're better than we think we are. We're going places, but every now and then you catch it just right. I keep hating that I reference Tennessee, but that was so near and dear to me. That 98 season, there were so many little things that went our way to make that happen. Nobody was talking about Joe Burrow a couple years ago in the LSU Tigers, and then all of a sudden they automatically become this amazing team. 21 Georgia Bulldogs, there's no way they're going to get past Alabama, and then they win a national championship. It's just crazy, and that's why I love SEC football so much, and it just feels like these teams are getting closer, man. They're getting closer, and that makes any given Saturday mean something now.
Yeah, no, without a doubt, brother, and I just love, talking up this what season. I mean, we're just getting so anticipation for this season. We're already thinking ahead. We're already predicting upsets. We're already predicting Heismans. And it's not just us, Shane. It's everybody listening to the show. Just look at some of these comments from these outstanding listeners. Everybody's fired up for the season. And, man, everybody's undefeated. It's the best time of the year. You know
That's right, man. That is right.
Until our team loses one damn game and we got to fire everybody.
That's what the hotline's for, baby.
Well, brother, I know you got to run. You got
Yeah.
anything else before we hop off the line?
No, that's it, man. Again, I'm glad you jumped on here early with me. Look forward to talking to everybody tomorrow. And again, thanks for the support on the Big Orange Walks. Truly does mean a lot. And if you're not following us, get on the YouTube channels and hit the old subscribe button. Steal your wife's phone, steal your husband's phone, whoever's listening to this, take your kid's phone, hit the subscribe button. It really does help us out in building that platform.
Absolutely, Shane. Well, I appreciate you. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you. We'll catch you on the next one.
All right, see you guys. Go Vols.
Where are you going? Where are you going? Are you going somewhere?
I got all the time in the world, man.
You got time for one more video?